We are live. Good morning, Wednesday morning. Glad that you're here this morning. Morning. My name's Tyler. If you're here for the first time, I'm glad that you decided to join us this morning. We're going to be navigating you through the wild world of day trading futures. It's going to be a good time. We're going to be sharing my daily trading bias. We're going to be giving you a front row seat to all the action. We're going to be talking about order flow, order blocks, fair value gaps, all that good stuff. It's going to be a good time. If you are watching this after the stream, you can jump to the key moments using the chapter markers below. And also, if you're looking to take your trading to the next level, you can use the code DTJ. It's on the screen right there. Apex is doing an 80% off sale where you can get an evaluation account for 80% off. That means a 25K account is only $29 and a 50K account is $33. They are currently also doing off if you want to do a 150, 250, 300K account. It is the same cost as a 50K account. So you can get those for just $33. Now, full disclosure, I think that's stupid. Don't get one of those 150K accounts. They know that the chances of you having to build your account to even $7,000, $9,000, $10,000 is even more unlikely, and I think it's stupid. Don't get those. You only need a 50K account, so don't do anything more than that. With that, let's go ahead and open in prayer. Father, we honor you this morning. Thank you for the opportunity we have to build wealth. Thank you for the opportunity to teach us as day traders. And Lord, I just pray that you give us wisdom, give us insight, give us understanding. Father, you are the God of wisdom. You know all things. So Father, give us understanding of the markets. Teach us your ways, Father. And we honor you. I pray for a blessing over every person here this morning. In Jesus' name, amen. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, Tony. Now what? Ricardo, JB, good morning. Ted, Tyler, good morning. It's good morning. It's good morning. Let's take a look and see what we got going on here. I'm a little indecisive here. We got London High. We have a 15-minute breaker. We have our new day opening gap, but then we also have 930 down here, new day opening gap, London low down here. It looks heavy to the downside. How we're going to get there, I'm just not quite sure yet. Not quite sure. I have this hourly BISI right here. This is an inversion. I'm keeping an eye on that, expecting that it's going to hold. So you can see this hourly fair value gap right here. We've closed below it and we came back up into it. I'm expecting it to hold. So ultimately, I'm looking for lower prices. We have our opening range gap here this morning, which is a decent size. 452 to 502. That's about 50 handles right now, approximately. We also have a 30-minute reversal pattern that has shown up. It supports the narrative. We had it right here. So here would be candle 1, candle 2, and so we would be looking for a 3-minute inversion or a 3-minute fair value gap in candle 3. You can also see it on the 8 a.m. candle. You have the 8:30 candle and the 9 a.m. candle going back up into a 3-minute fair value gap, which we have not done yet. So if we were to look for a potential 3-minute fair value gap on the 30-minute, you could potentially identify this level here. Which overlaps with that breaker. I like that idea at open, I guess. No, it's not super obvious here. So we'll see what happens here. I like the idea. I mean, this falls inside the narrative of what I want. We have that small breaker sitting right there. We have a high, low, higher high. That's attractive. That's in line. It would also fill roughly half of the opening range gap. If we open lower, it brings that opening range gap even lower in line with that. So I'm looking at the midpoint of the opening range gap to see if that can overlap with this. It would be nice if it doesn't run this low. I doubt that's going to not happen right now. So I do like that sweep before the open that supports a 930 model potentially to the breaker. We really just need to watch and see how the candle closes right around 930 and see what happens there. But I would say I'm favoritive towards the downside here. I'm just not sure how it wants to go about doing it. That's the big question right now. We got London highs sitting right here. We got a big 15-minute breaker right here. It's right at the top of the opening range gap sitting up there. And we have the new day opening gap sitting up here as well. So it's 50-50. I mean, on a higher time frame perspective, you look at the hourly, we're in a market maker sell model. Okay? I like this. Here's our accumulation stage. Here's second stage accumulation. Then we have our smart money reversal. Now we have our high. Now we're looking for a smart money reversal or stage 2 of the distribution. I'm not sure where, but this level looks appealing. That's why I'm not discounting it. So I just want to be patient and let price kind of work itself out here and see if it gives us anything. MR, good morning. James, what's up, my friend? How you doing? Can you guys hear me? Am I back? Are we live? Okay. My internet went out completely. I had to reset everything. I have no idea why I did that. Well, we missed 9:30. Did we catch anything there? 9:30 gave us 11 handles, so 9:30 worked out. We didn't go high enough. We didn't go high enough for me to want to go short, so not interested in this. Let's go ahead and mark our opening range gap and our 930 level. So we can just mark that out. I will tell you that as far as the 3-minute inversion, we went to the first one, or 3-minute fair value gap based on the 30-minute cycle. There it is. There's your 30-minute short. So if we jump to the 30-minute time frame right there, we have a sweep of liquidity. 8:30 we have our candle. 8:30 is swept. 9 a.m. sweeps that candle, gives us a change of state of delivery. At 9:16 we closed the we open the 9:30 candle and we wick back up into the 3-minute fair value gap right there. Boom, there's your trade, there's your short. And that printed 47 handles in 6 minutes. 5 minutes. I'm not saying you would have taken it. I'm just saying there it is. It's there. Let's see what it wants to do here if it comes back up. I really would like it to run up to these levels here. So the question is do we try to play that move or do we wait for that move? I'm feeling like we wait for that move. That's kind of how I'm feeling this morning. Did we run that? No, we did not. We did not run this swing low here, which was from 251. Let's take a look at regular trading hours, and let's see what we got. Regular trading hours, we didn't sweep the low from the PM session. And right now, we're sitting right here. Did we give our first, do we have our first fair value gap? I think we do. It's very tiny right there. There's our first presented fair value gap. And there's us reaching up into that level there. I really do like this breaker. Even if it's just for 10 handles, it looks decent. There's a small bullish breaker right there on from 930. I'm going to be patient here. We got a couple different options on direction it wants to go. I don't want it to be, 50-50. I want to take something that's, 70-20, 75-25. I want something that's high probability. And while this trade to the upside could work, this to the downside, I'm just the midpoint I like. I'm okay with taking a rejection trade off of the midpoint for maybe 10 handles from that first exposure. Where are we? Screen share. There. Oh, I missed the entry. I missed my entry. That's frustrating. I'm getting so used to waiting for price to do this that when it flashes up there and I miss it, it's just like, crap, missed it. Gonna let it decide what it wants to do here. I'm not touching that. Nope. I'll sit out. If it's going to flash around like that, forget that crap. There'll be something else. I'll play the inversion to the downside. If it's gonna flash back and forth, I'm not gonna do that right here. I'd rather take this inversion down here at 930. MR, thank you. A lot of wicks around here. So breaker ended up playing out that I called. This candle at 939 just is, I'm not going to mess around with that. It was just too wicky, too flashy, and I've burned many times before on trades like that. Meaning I have my stop loss set at 20 handles and it just wicks up, hits my stop loss, and then goes back in my direction. You just got to broaden your stop loss, and I don't want to do that because I could be wrong. It could want to run up to this London high. If the first presented fair value gap holds and we come back to this inversion, I'll consider taking that inversion to the upside. But I'm more looking right now at seeing if it wants to close below this. And if it's going to give me an entry, if it spreads itself out and closes down here, I'm not going to take that. I would take something like this where it's right below it, but not anything else. $930, first presented fair value gap, and a breaker are all sitting right here. Do we got any more news that's going to be coming up here? Wednesday. Just at 7:30, just at 8:30 we had that news release. Okay. This screen's frozen for me right now. Trade of 8, when I go back and forth between them, it like freezes. No entry on that. We closed inside the first presented fair value gap and within that fair value gap there. So still no entry opportunity. That fair value gap is 10 handles. So if I can get relatively close, I'm willing to take a 10 handle draw or downside. But if it closes way down here, I'm not as interested. Okay, I'm going to take that, see if it gives it to me. Moving my stop to break even. I'm going to see if it wants to be heavy here. I got the first presented fair value gap from Tuesday. Oh, it stopped me out at break even. All right, break even trade hit. Followed my rules in regards to once we sweep liquidity, move my stop to break even. I wish I was in up here, closer to this fair value gap, which was where we wanted to be, so that we could participate in that. I'm watching how we react to the Tuesday first fair value gap. It still looks heavy. I'm just not in it anymore. Brian, what's up? Institutions are selling a lot. I think they are waiting for buying volume to build up and then dump. I would agree. Yesterday, every time buying volume dropped at a point below, spoofed the market higher to reset price. Different model of trading, but putting the idea out there if it helps. Thanks. Appreciate it, Brian. Stan, what's up? How you doing? Here's our last 15-minute fair value gap that is held. So let's see how it reacts to this 15-minute. We got 10 minutes, so let's go back down to the 1 minute here. A little bummed about the breaker right here. We called that out beforehand. We called out that 3-minute beforehand. 3-minute respected, breaker respected. It was a 30-minute reversal. I did not get in because of a 1-minute candle here, a little spoof here at 9:39. This candle just kind of started flashing everywhere, kind of freaked me out a little bit. And decided not to get in. If I would have gotten in, my drawdown would have been 6 handles. My profit would have been 70 handles. So, would have been nice, is what it is. The key is we identified it. That's the golden ticket. And then now it's just learning to execute despite what we're experiencing or feeling on the 1-minute candles. We had our structure. We had our 30-minute reversal show and present itself. We had the higher time frame aligning with that 30-minute model. We had the 3-minute present itself, overlapped with the breaker. I mean, there's multiple confluences on taking that. And if I'm 100% honest, if I was not getting my chart set up because I was working on getting my execution screen up, I was clicking the button, and I missed my first entry right here. If I would have been in this trade right here, if I would have gotten in on this first exposure, I would have been in this trade. I would have held this, kept my stop loss at 10 handles, and we would have been in this trade. So I missed it. And this is not the first time. You guys have seen that. Oh, well, that's cool. What just happened? Do you guys see that? Does that show up on your screen? Does your screen darken and a highlighted circle comes up? Interesting. I don't think so. But either way, this isn't the first time that I miss trades like that because I'm doing something. Bummer. All right, we swept sell side. 945 sell side. So we ran New York, Tuesday's New York low. See if we get some type of reaction there. A retracement, so to speak, on the 5-minute. 15-minute, we swept. We could probably dig a little bit deeper to get down to this 15-minute down here. Man, I would have liked that. That's a bummer. But I'm liking the analysis. The analysis was that this was a breaker. We have our high, low, higher high. Displace lower. We come back up to the breaker. Called the breaker out. That's model number 1. Model number 2 was the 30-minute reversal. We have our first 30-minute candle there. We get our sweep of liquidity right here on the 30-minute. That means at 9 a.m. we want, between 9 and 9:30, we want to see a change in state of delivery on the 3-minute. So here's between 9 and 9:30, we want to see a change in state of delivery. So here's our change in state of delivery. We sweep the high on this green candle, and we have a change in state of delivery right here. Okay, check. Now we're looking between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. We're looking for a 3-minute fair value gap to the left for our entry. So we look left, we have fair value gap number 1 and fair value gap number 2. Fair value gap number 2 overlaps with that breaker, which makes for a higher probability trade because you have overlapping confluences with the breaker. So you have the high, low, higher, high, break, low, breaker. And we have the 30-minute reversal entry right in that fair value gap. Our higher time frame suggests and encourages lower price action. So there's the higher time frame support, and it played out nicely. Got stopped out on our inversion entry on the 1-minute and did not take the 3-minute entry because of the 9:39 wick, and the candle that just started going a little crazy just basically got me to sit out. So overall, good analysis. Happy with that. I could walk away with that confidence knowing that I'm identifying the trades. Then it's just a matter of, all right, despite what I'm seeing on a 1-minute chart, is the higher time frame lining up with my idea? Yes. Okay, let's take our entry. Let's adjust our stop loss to be at these highs, because if it goes at these highs, the trade idea is completely gone. And maybe take smaller size and let the trade play out. Previous day low is down there. Have we hit the previous day high? We have not hit the previous day high, so we have a target of the previous day low. If we can see a close below this order block and it's not all the way down here, I'll consider taking a little bit of a chase. But I need to see the close. Like this candle here. You see this candle here? This candle was closed below and then it expands. This is indicative of price action. It aggressively runs and then it's like, oh, here's our target. Let's slow down and let's go the other direction to freak people out, and then we're going to run it. All right, we're at 10 o'clock. It's 10:03. Our 10 o'clock candle's right here, right in the middle. To me, this candle right here is indicative of a continuation. It's like not, it doesn't make it look significant, so it's like the middle of a move. I like the idea of us going lower here, but when do I know that we for sure are moving lower? Well, I would need to see a close below this. So you go to the 2-minute, it's all green right now. See that? So we got a potential order block being set. So I want to see on this, I would want to see on the 2-minute time frame us closing below this without running this low. That's what I would want to see. If we can get a close below this up close candle, I would be more interested in taking a short from there to there, which would give us about 20 handles for a target. Got 2 minutes left on that candle, so I'm not really chopping at the bits to do anything. Let's see, 3 hour, 1 hour. It's also London low right there. So we got London low also sitting there. We got a 4-hour new candle up presented. Nice 4-hour. I bet you there's a 15-minute entry in all this down movement. We'll go back and analyze that. So we have a 4-hour reversal. Let's see if we have a 15-minute entry based on that. We'll do that here in a little bit. Going back to the 2-minute. All right, we got a red closed candle here, but a new 2-minute candle here. A lot can happen in 2 minutes. I tell you what, we could sweep this high and we could run that low in 2 minutes. Look at the back and forth price action here. Overlapping candles and wicks. Can you imagine thinking that you were going to drop right here on the on the 1 minute? You know, 10:04 comes around and you're like, oh, this is going to drop, and you get in short right here, and then now it's running against you. This is why you wait. There's just uncertainty in all of this price action. It's overlapping candles. We haven't confirmed an order block yet, so we still just got to wait. Even the 3 minute. There's a 3 minute. What about the 4 minute? 5 minute? All right, so we close on this 5 minute in the next minute and 30 seconds. Let's see if we get a close.
Submitted. Order submitted.
It's gonna, I jumped in early. Let's see if it hurts me. It looks like it's gonna hurt me. All right, we did close below that. Horrible fill though. Probably gonna get stopped out here. See if we can run to this low. 2 minute did close below. That was a mistake.
Canceled.
That was a mistake on my part, guys. I jumped it. If I would have had that position better, I wouldn't have been stopped out, and it'll probably run right here. It's probably going to hit it right now. If I would have gotten in at the close would have been at 311, 312. Stop loss would have been at 330. This would still be a live trade. Let's see if it actually runs in our favor. So if I did this appropriately, which I didn't, that's where we would be with our target right here. Stop, I would move to break even right now. Swept an internal low. Stopped at break even. It just didn't want to reach for it. So, my execution, I took an impulsive entry. I thought we were going to, I made a poor impulsive decision thinking that this candle was just going to run for it. And because of how close we were to the close of the candle, there was only 10 seconds left. I decided to get in, got an entry right here, and then it decided to run back about 20 handles, and it stopped me out. That is why we wait for the close. I can't tell you how many times those decisions have hurt me. Those decisions or lack of discipline in taking those impulsive decisions have hurt me. I've lost many accounts doing decisions like that, and apparently I have not learned yet. Your London low from yesterday? Yeah, that's London low from yesterday, from Tuesday. Yeah, right there. It's also the previous day low. London low is previous day low. So if it's going to get this close and not run it, it may not. It may just want to turn around and start running back inside the range. If we start seeing displacement, that's a possibility. I feel you, Ted. I closed my accounts. I'm not going to be... I took one loss. I'm not going to take another one. I may open an eval account, but I'm not going to be making another trade. That was a poor decision on my part. I shouldn't have done what I did. And even if I did it, if I traded logically, I would have been stopped out at break even. Or I could have took 10 handles and walked away. But I allowed an impulsive feeling to dictate my decisions, and that's not who I am. So because I didn't handle that correctly, I closed my accounts. And so right now we're just tape reading. It's always like that, Ted. All right, so there's TP. London low. Let's see if we get a reaction to the upside here after we swept that low, or if it expands through it. My guess is you get a reaction here. All right, I opened up my eval account. My performance accounts are closed. This will be first loss, 4 or 5 trading days in a row. So, on stream, that is. Price action here, hasn't been a single fair value gap, okay? This is not something I want to trade. You might be thinking to yourself, then why did you take this trade, Tyler? I shouldn't have. Shouldn't have taken it. I'm going to look for lower prices here. I don't think we're reversing here. I think we're going down to yesterday's or Monday's opening range gap. We got the first presented fair value gap sitting right there. That'll be our first target. I'm going to take a short right here. If we come back and touch this candle, we would call it an immediate rebalance right here. See if we can get a immediate rebalance and then expand lower. Nope, it's going to go without it. So because it expanded already, we'll take this off. How many of you guys on here are runners? Or do we have any runners on stream? Anybody that runs consistently or finds himself running 3 or 4 times, 3 times a week? Solid walker. Don't like running. I never liked it running either. I just started getting into it. I'm trying to run a few times a week. I'm going to see if it can give us a reaction to the upside right here. Eval account, like I said, if it expands, I'm just looking for a 10 handle retracement. See if it gives that to us. Nope, stopped out there. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm testing different key levels to identify breakers. If you've noticed, breakers are great for those initial tests for rejections. For example, you see this right here. We have a high, low, higher high. We come lower, and the first time we hit this breaker, the reaction we get is really large. So what I was doing here on my eval account is testing, do we get the same type of reaction on a first fair value gap? And I would say no. So that will never happen again. I won't be testing that. What I will look for is this level here. See if we run and sweep that yet. And it looks like we just did. There's a sweep, and there's the reaction. We got it. It came back all the way up to that first fair value gap, which was 17 handles. So those are the types of things that right now, that's kind of what I'm looking for, is to see, do we get some of those reactions? And I never tried the first fair value gap, and I'll never do that again. But swing lows tend to be the key. I don't know why I did the first fair value gap. I normally don't do it for fair value gaps at all. It needs to be swing lows, swing highs, and breakers are typically the only thing that I've seen them do it. Call me Walker, Texas Ranger. Yeah, I started running three or 4 weeks ago, and have just, I don't know. I'm trying to get my son to start running because he's in sports, and I need him to stay in shape. So the best way to show my son how to be consistent at it is to do it yourself. So I started running. It's amazing what children will do to your lives, and I found myself actually starting to like it. One thing that I learned about running is a term called easy runs. It's in the running community. They call a majority of the runs, 80 to 90% of all the running they do is what they call easy runs. And I've never understood this concept because in high school I was a sprinter and my job was to run as hard and as fast as I could. But when you do like long distance, when you run for a mile, 2, 3, 4, 10, 15, 20 miles, you do what's called an easy run, meaning you're only running as fast as you can, but you keep your heart rate under 140 beats per minute, which for me is extremely slow. It's like it's almost like a fast walk, power walking. Power walking will probably get you at 140 until you condition your body to get familiar with it, and then your heart rate drops, and then you can start running faster at those lower beats per minute. And it makes it running a lot more enjoyable. Like I ran 3 miles yesterday and I didn't stop because I didn't let my heart rate, get to where I normally would be in high school, and it just allowed me to keep running. It was weird. My legs are sore today. All right, so we swept this low. For the most part, respected that first fair value gap. What do we got for a 2 minute? Was that the... My daughter does rowing to save knees for endurance. Works beautifully. I don't row. No, I don't do that. So lessons for me today, if you guys cared, you may not care. My analysis was when we close below this order block, we should have an entry. Overall, analysis was correct. Execution was pathetic. I got in on the momentum of the candle instead of waiting for the close. If I waited for the close, my stop would have never been hit. Stop loss, let's do one with 15 handle stop loss, even with a 15 handle stop loss. 15 handle stop loss, 3R trade, 45 handles, bagged it. So waiting for the close, understanding that we were in a sell model, I felt like we were going to run lower. We did, just pathetic and poor execution. I'm not dogging on myself. I mean, I am dogging on myself. I'm not talking negatively to myself. I know that there's a lesson in it, but I'm just saying, let's call it what it is. It was a poor execution that needs to be addressed for future trading. Impulsive trades have been the Achilles heel in my trading. What you guys saw on stream, if you can avoid that right there, will eliminate 90% of your fails. 90% of your losses is that trade right there. I thought, oh, I don't want to miss it. Wrong logic in the first place. So I'm it must be running because it's being aggressive. Wrong logic number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and get in. I'm pretty confident. Logic number 3, assumptions kill. Wait for the close, take the entry. Lesson learned. We had a few lessons today. Lesson from this morning. If everything's aligning with your model, if everything's aligning for order flow, do not allow a jankety candle or let that scare you from your plan. Take the entry, set a proper stop loss, and let it play out. Don't let the minute candles and all of the wiki price action or the flashing of the candles manipulate you out. So on both scenarios, I allowed the 1 minute manipulation, the 1 minute flashes. It would have flashed on a 5 minute as well. So it's not because it's the 1 minute. I allowed the flashing and the speed of the candles in the moment cause me to react and make a decision. This one, I was cautious, wanted to follow my rules, decided to stay out. I would rather make this mistake than this mistake. Not sure what's going on, at least with my stream, folks. It's kind of going in and out. I had to reset my internet, so it tells me Cox is having issues, and I despise that company. There's like almost no consistency with that company. I'm waiting for broadband or for Quantum Fiber, Google Fiber to come to my neighborhood and they can't get here fast enough. All right, so here's an inversion. Why would I not want to take this? I would not want to take this because it's coming right off of an initial move. I'm not interested. I would rather see this fail or it not close, come back down, have a failure swing to run lower, and then take it. That's what I would rather see. If we can get the failure swing here, I may be interested in taking that towards this swing high right there. So we have that order block there. It could be, I would prefer a deeper retracement. I would prefer it to go a little bit lower, maybe to the first fair value gap there. We're also at the previous day low. So this is a key. If we get rejection here, that's honestly a sell signal there. But we did sweep some liquidity here and had a decent reaction to it. So I'm not going to take that long because it is London low. It is the previous day low. If anything, when we have a key level like that, we want to see it find resistance, or the other option is we want to see it break through it and then find support before you move higher. So in other words, we would want to look at this breaker being this up close candle acting as a breaker. We've already ran previous day low on ES. You don't need to take Monday's low. That's too far away. You're not gonna get tit for tat. So if NQ runs Monday, it doesn't mean ES runs Monday. We want to find liquidity around the same point. So it ran previous day low right here. ES or NQ also ran a previous day low. It doesn't need to run another low. So don't get caught up in that logic that if ES does something, NQ has to do the exact same thing. We want to see it to run liquidity. So it runs that liquidity right here. It runs that liquidity and you can see it's doing something similar. So NQ hit a key level, a Monday low, but ES didn't. ES ran the previous day low around the same time that NQ was grabbing that low. So because this was around the same time, I'll look at that as correlating. It's not identical, but it's correlating. Because that's a big level. No, there's no way that ES is going to run all the way that low. All right, so this is something that I've seen happen a lot. Let's see if it happens. I'm going to talk through it here. When you see price action staying inside a fair value gap for a long period of time and then closes, two things happen. Can happen. Either we'll get a complete rejection and it moves aggressively lower and causing you to get stopped out, or it will pop up to that swing high. The scenarios that I like the best to take these are when we have several equal highs. If we had several equal highs here, and when we close above this fair value gap, we will run for those equal highs. If they were all right here, we had a bunch of equal highs right here. We close above this level here, and then we'll run for those equal highs. When we got recent price action that gives me all of this, and we start seeing this, I will be less likely to take this trade because I've seen it so many times where it will close above that level and then just fall off. So I'm not interested, as far as the 1 minute time frame goes, in playing this inversion to the upside. Especially with the sell-off we have seen, there's a chance we see lower prices. Does that make sense, L and B? I hope that makes sense in regards to correlating assets and smart money reversals and such. We had a reason for this to change, but this really was the key level. That previous day low, and ES and NQ hit it. NQ just happened to reach for that level there. So we're going to watch this on this next candle here, and let's see what happens. We're coming up around the macro time, so we should get some type of reaction. I'm curious to see, do we get that reaction to the upside, or do we get that close and then it rejects and runs lower? That's kind of what I want to see. I don't see any clear model that says it's time to take a trade. I mean, think about it. You have to, when we compare this to this right here that we talked about earlier, Which one was clearer? This one. This is what I want to see to be able to take a trade. And it's why it's like, I wish I took that trade, but there was a reason, a legitimate reason on why I didn't. I'm going to journal why I probably should have taken that trade. And this was just a continuation of what we were seeing and just had poor execution. This does not ring any bells right now. Whole bunch of nothing happening right now. Cyrus, there is still unfinished business down there for ES, 23% fib. Let's take a gander. All right, so we do have these. The only thing that I'll say on ES that looks appealing are these relatively equal lows right there. Those are close enough to where I think it could reach for that. So if it wants to reach for that, that's totally fine. How can we capitalize on that? We have an inversion right here. The first fair value gap, a close below that would be nice. We have a breaker right here that we could play off of. It's not as nice. And then if we look left, do we have anything of interest down here? And we have, I mean, we do for sure have reason to go lower. Opening range gap, London low, midnight open. I'm bearish. I was bearish for sure. When is that going to happen? Well, I would love for it to happen during the macro. 11 a.m. would be nice. If I had a preference on what I would like to see, I would like to see a failure swing higher, sweep of this liquidity, and then us run lower. That's what I would prefer to see. Taking a trade here, yeah, it's doable, but I would rather price. I mean, if I'm doing this, I would want to start running this way aggressively to get everybody to think we're going long. because we just had a huge drop lower. So if I'm the algorithm and I'm running price where I want to go it, wanting to move it, I would run it here, running it into this 5-minute order block. So if we go to the 5-minute time frame, you're going to see this 5-minute order block sitting right there. I would run it into that 5-minute order block before I have it fall lower. But I would say I think we're bearish for sure. My bias is to the downside. How we get there, that's the idea. And never, ever, ever do I look at the market thinking it's just going to go in a straight line anymore. I'm thinking, how can we go in a straight line and then make people freak out and then run to jagged it up? So I would be watching for a reaction at this last fair value gap for it to find support and move to the upside. That's kind of the idea that I'd be looking for. So we're watching for this fair value gap. This is Monday's first presented fair value gap right here, and it just happens to be overlapping with this fair value gap right here. So makes it some interest there. I will say that this first fair value gap technically should run down to here because we have a volume imbalance. So this is the whole fair value gap. All right, so here's that candle. Now the question is do we just stop here, or do we just plow right through it? Do we just sweep these highs and run the lower, or do we sweep the highs and maybe run for this 5-minute order block? As that is the question. I don't have a problem taking this inversion now. So do you see how we stayed in here, but then went away from it? Now if we close above it, I like it more for a target for that 5-minute order block. The hard part with this is this swing high technically is a swing high where you're supposed to move your stop to break even. Well, you can't move your stop to break even in this scenario because it's the close of it is right there. So it makes this trade, this idea to the upside a little more, requires you to be a little more nimble in your execution, because it may flash higher and I'm probably going to move my stop to break even right away because I don't want it to run against me. So I have a market order buy here. Let's see what happens if it closes. All right, you're going to take that trade. Let's see if it fills me. And I'm going to put my stop right at this high, at the candle's low. And it hit target almost immediately. For 10 handles. There's our 5-minute order block that we talked about. It hit it to the tick. Let's see if it pushes past it. I should have done a 20 handle target because that's what I was there. I was so worried about my stop loss that I didn't even pay attention to the target. Pretty crazy when it lands to the tick based on what you're talking about, isn't it? That's just crazy. So what are we watching for? We swept this high. We hit the 5-minute order block. Now I want to see, do they in fact want to run it lower? Or are we going higher, going back to equilibrium? Maybe up here to this 15-minute fair value gap. That's a possibility as well. What I'm watching, what I would be looking for is this first fair value gap violated? If we find support in this fair value gap, I may look for a long. If we violate it, there's a good chance we're running for this low, if not down here and further lower. But this first fair value gap right here overlaps with the previous day low and is a breaker as well. We have a low, high, lower low, breaks higher. Here's where you'd want to find support to see it move higher. So I'm watching that fair value gap right at the previous day low to see if it finds support there. It's this kind of candle that I would be looking at the close of a candle. I'm not looking at taking an entry as soon as we go down into it. I want to wait for the close to find out if it's going to show any type of respect before I decide if I'm willing to take the risk. Okay, so here's the fair value gap. How do we react? Do we just run right through it? Do we close below it? Do we wick below it and back up into it? Those are the things that I'm looking for. There's 23 seconds on this candle. Here's another minor breaker, bullish breaker sitting right here. Let's see if it just wanted to reach down into here and wick back up in. So it closed below it. Okay, it doesn't completely violate this idea of moving higher, but my first area of support was violated. So now I want to see, do these candles want to get back above it and then find support at it again? Or are we just heavy and continue to run lower? Jumping to the 2-minute, we have a 2-minute fair value gap, and then we have a tiny 3-minute fair value gap. I would be looking at this 1-minute as my only opportunity to the downside that I would consider. Is a close below this fair value gap, that's when I'm saying, all right, I'm willing to take that trade to the downside. My first impression of wanting to trade longer was violated, but we may come back up into here, find support again, and then move higher. Okay, That's kind of what I'm looking for now. We still are inside of this inversion in the premium portion of this inversion. So this inversion right here is price is staying in the premium side of it. So it's still solid. It's still good. It just violated my first initial what I wanted to see find support at. Jump to the 5-minute. So there's the 5-minute order block that we mentioned that I wanted to see it hit and reject. We have that to the tick. The 15-minute fair value gap. We don't have any fair value gaps until we get up to the equilibrium. So we could see price reach for the 15-minute fair value gap up here. That's a possibility. The 60-minute, we have one more minute left before our first hourly fair value gap is going to be created. Right here. So let's mark that because I think we may reach for that hourly fair value gap, which is sitting up over here, right? So we got that hourly fair value gap. Look where that hourly fair value gap is, and it's right around equilibrium. I like that. So we're going to wait for this candle to close here. It's 9:59. We went back above it. We're going back below it. What does it want to do? I'm not sure yet. So we just need to wait for more information. I have targets to the upside all up here. I have targets to the downside, which were way, where are we at? Which were right here. London low. That would be my only downside target. I'm going to take this as a long here and see if it wants to start pushing higher. I want to see this candle close above this one right here. That's going to be a key factor. Okay, nice strong bodied close. We should run this high. Thanks, Ted. Now what? Previous hourly closed above yesterday's low. I want to see if we can get back up here. We've shown reason and support here at this breaker. We've shown support at the previous day low. We have a brand new candle, 11 a.m. candle. I want to see it run higher. I'm willing to let this play out. If you want to take 10 handles and get out, this would be your spot right here. 15-minute swing high is right here. So for sure, you really would want to take profit. Take a small TP at this order block, the swing high on the 15-minute. I have mine at the next swing high. I would be content taking 220 handles. As I still see the downside pressure. Let's go ahead and we're going to move our stop or our target to be 20 handles right here. Or what is that? 14. Yeah, so it'll be... Let's see if it can reach 20 handles here. I don't like how it made so close equal highs. I'm going to move my stop to break even. But because if we get back up, here's the thing. Now that we have relatively equal highs right here, if we get back up here, I'm going to push my stop. I'm going to push this level higher. I don't see us just wicking up here for 2 ticks and then coming back down. I want to see if it can reach all the way up here if it's going to do that. So let's see what happens here. Doesn't look good. I'm struggling on being able to move my stop loss. I want to move it to right below the midpoint of this wick, but it's not giving it to me. For whatever reason, it's all frozen and can't execute. Oh, there it goes. I think I want to bring my stop loss to there. Right below the midpoint of that wick. Once we hit this swing high, I'm going to move my stop to 40 ticks into profit. If it allows me to do that, I'm not even sure if it will. If we get above this, we should have a nice big candle here. Looking for that equal high to be broken. Let's see if we get, and it completely rejected it. Come on, try again. Yeah, we're in a consolidation right at 11 o'clock. It's not fun. I'm moving my stop to 40 ticks. It either can run higher or stop me out for 10 handles. All right, so there's the sweep. Let's see if we get a complete rejection or if it just pushes right through it. I'm seeing a rejection candle here. I'm thinking rejection. We got a low resistance liquidity. It's not fun, price action. Come on, push. If it comes back down, I'm just going to close the trade. I'm going to close it. All right. There it is, folks. 20 handles, rough. 20 handles there. May extend higher, but I'm not. I was in profit. Didn't want it to run back down, tap me out. We'll just take it. And let's see. Oh, there's the drop right there. I knew that we were probably going to get that. It's just like it's too smooth. Too smooth right here. It's gonna change things up, make things interesting. We're going to call it a day there, folks. Is what it is. Lessons learned. I thought we did a good job on identifying the trade opportunity right here. I just really don't like that we had to sit in all of this. This was the trade we took. That's just nasty. It's nasty. Is what it is. We will be back here tomorrow morning at 9:15. At 9:15 New York Standard Time. We'll be live trading again, so if you want to hang out with us, that would be awesome. You can use the code DTJ up on the screen if you use Apex. Check it out. I'm considering getting some discount codes for some other prop firms, but I don't use them. So I don't know. I just kind of feel disingenuous with getting a discount code for people if I don't use them. I may try another one, but I've just been really happy with Apex. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. Either way, we'll be back tomorrow, guys. God bless you. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.